I mean, look, you're living in an your whole life is a lie, right? So maybe you should just accept that. And you're either going to make it or you're not going to make it. And there's no in between, there's no try.
In this video, Tech Lead is going to explain why the age of making money is over and why the middle class is getting destroyed. So we're going to analyze this video and see, is he right? Is he wrong? Is it really over for people wanting to build a better life for themselves and for their loved ones? Should you just give up, stop working hard and just throw all of your dreams and goals in the trash? That's what we're going to find out.
All right, pencils down. Stop studying, stop working, stop trying to make money. That's it. Okay, I said pencils down. It's time to stop being productive. Now, I know this is kind of a change in the direction of our channel in which we were talking about 7 ways to be productive, and we want to be self-help improvement gurus and how to make money, learning to make passive income, learning how to code, but that's over now. And in fact, it's just simply not cool anymore today to even show yourself working, right? You go on YouTube, do you see anybody out here working? Nobody's working. Everybody's out there living their best lives, having fun, frolicking around, dancing, going to events, traveling, eating food. That's what people are doing out here, maybe having fun, interesting conversations, having these podcasts, but nobody is actually sitting down working, and nobody wants to see you work either.
Well, you see, the funny thing is that MrBeast, if he wants to make a video, he spends at least a couple $1 million per video and also months of his time. I've seen many interviews by MrBeast and the guy is constantly working. So just because a YouTube video, it looks nice, it looks like it's easy to do, in reality, there is so much work that actually goes behind creating content. Even when people film videos like what I eat in a day or a day in my life, it doesn't look like it's that much work because after all, hey, they're just recording their day, right? In reality, it takes a lot of work to plan because you need to know what I'm going to shoot, when I'm going to put it in the video. You need to make sure that the content is engaging, that people love it. So no, bottom line, they are working. And fair enough, before I started my own YouTube channel, I didn't realize just how much work it actually was. And it's even more true if you are doing everything yourself, all the way from script writing, if you have to write a script, video editing, filming the video, and making a thumbnail, finding a good title, and making sure that you optimize your video so that it can reach the most amount of people as possible. Now, something is that we're all lazy by nature. And if you don't believe me, well, from an evolutionary perspective, it wouldn't make sense to be programmed to be running around everywhere, wasting the precious energy that is crucial to our survival. Your brain, believe it or not, but it doesn't care about you reaching your goals, living your dream life. The only thing that your brain cares about is to keep you safe, to keep you alive. Your brain doesn't care if you're not a millionaire, and that's why oftentimes people procrastinate and they don't do the work, even if deep down they know this is what they need to do to reach their goals.
And not to mention, the opportunity for a lot of this is gone now. If you're poor, then you might just be poor forever. And if you're rich, you're going to be rich and stay rich. And that's just how things are going to be. So if you're out there trying to make money, and I totally get why everybody's trying to do this, people want to be rich, I need to give you a bit of dose of reality, which is that there may simply not be enough opportunities. And if you don't have the money now, you just may never have it.
You know, that's what people have thought for centuries. And I would even argue that it's actually easier to get rich than it has ever been in the entire history of mankind. Why? Because back then, if you were from a low-income family, you were pretty much screwed. You couldn't really relocate to another country with better opportunities because, hey, to travel to another city, you had to walk for years. And truthfully, your chances of making it to the other side of the continent or to the other city that you wanted to go to, they were very low. And just a few decades ago, if you wanted to become financially free, to get rich, to be a millionaire, you would have probably needed to open up factories, to buy some land, and that would have required a lot of money in startup capital. So if you were in fact from a low-income family, like I said, you were pretty much screwed, because how could you obtain that money to start your business in the first place, and especially if you didn't have a network? The average millionaire is 57 years old. However, with the rise of the internet and of social media platforms, in the last decades, a very interesting phenomenon started to take place. More and more people are becoming millionaires younger, and when I mean younger, I mean in their 20s and in their 30s. There's plenty of people from all over the world who come from low-income families and they were able to start an online business and they successfully built a life of freedom and of abundance for themselves. That's the case for me. Now, is it easy to do and can everyone do it? No, that's not what I believe, and I'm not going to preach that everyone should be an entrepreneur, because I don't think that this path is meant for everybody. But on that same note, having a 9-to-5 job or a traditional career, it is also not meant for everybody. We need both. We need employees, but we also need entrepreneurs. So when he's saying that, oh, it's going to be impossible to make money, I completely disagree with that. However, there is something that you really need to understand. With the recent pandemics and lockdowns all over the world, something profoundly changed in the way that we do business. Everyone and everything moved online. That was the only way that businesses could survive. during the lockdowns because people were not allowed to literally get out of their own house. So even people who didn't use the internet, they were forced to adapt and to start using it. This means that more and more people started to be on social media, for instance. Social media platforms like YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, they saw a gigantic rise in the number of users they've got during the recent lockdowns. This also means that content creators were able to get more and more views, and if you use social media to promote your business, you will have probably seen a big spike in customers and therefore in revenue. So compared to a few decades ago, it's actually a lot easier to make a lot of money because now you can start your own online business. If you want to figure out what's the best online business to start, I have recorded a free video in which I analyze every popular business model to figure out which one is the best to start for beginners. We take a look at the pros and at the cons of every popular online business model, and I'm also going to share with you the 3-step process that you can use to start getting your own consulting clients today. The link is in the description below if you are interested.
Okay, like you could be poor forever. And the reason for this is because the middle class is shrinking, actually. Like the poor are getting poorer, the rich are getting richer, and there's just no middle class anymore. There's no opportunities. So if you're rich, you're making more from your investments and you have money, you're using that money to leverage it to make more money. And then if you're in the middle class, you may be drifting down into the lower class. And so I'm sorry to say, but that path that your parents laid out for you, which is maybe you go to school, you study, you get a normal, decent job, that's middle class. We're going to categorize that as poor.
That's completely true. And there's something that I'm about to say, and it might offend a lot of people because they're going to take it the wrong way. Typically, we say that we have the poor, the middle class, and the rich. But in my opinion, middle class is just another way of saying poor. Because if you compare the average life of a middle class person compared to the average life of a millionaire, well, you can see that there is a gigantic difference. When you see how big of a gap there is, you realize there is no such thing as a middle class. Everyone is poor. Now with inflation year after year, the middle class is losing money. They're getting poorer. On the other hand, rich people are becoming richer because they own many assets. And those assets, thanks to inflation, they increase in value, therefore growing their wealth as a result. And typically middle class people, they don't own many assets. They have a car, they have a house, but really they don't have anything that is actually making them money and gaining value year after year. However, if you're rich, then most likely you invested money in the stock market and in real estate, not necessarily to get rich, but rather to secure your worth, to secure your assets, and to keep building wealth even in a way that's quote-unquote passive. Because if you buy a real estate property or you invest in the stock market, and of course, we are assuming that you do your research properly and that you're investing in something that you understand and you know what you're doing, then if you do a good job, year after year, thanks to inflation, like I said, your assets are going to gain value, making you richer. So it's true that the more money you have, the easier it is to become richer. And even when it comes to having a business, the more money you have, the more you can just delegate, hire people, you can just expand. When you start your own business and you are alone, you don't have any employees, and you don't have any money to invest in delegating or hiring people, you have to do all of the work by yourself. This means that you have a lot of responsibilities on your shoulders. Now, is the middle class really disappearing? Is it just over? Should you give up on your dreams of obtaining financial freedom and of living an incredible life? No, it is still possible to make money with an online business. However, I need to warn you about something. It is true that year after year, it is becoming increasingly difficult. Why? Because more and more people realize that they don't like their 9-to-5 job, that it's quite meaningless, and this doesn't apply to every profession, but lots of people, they just don't like what they do for a living. And so they see those people, myself included, online having crazy online businesses that make them a ton of money, that allow them to be free, and they think, hey, I want this type of life, so why shouldn't I have it? However, because more and more people want their piece of the pie, this means that more and more people are getting started every day. This also means that it's creating a lot more competition. So if you want to stand out, you will have to get better and better and better at what you do. If you do something average or mediocre, it's no longer going to be enough. Like, just take a look at what the popular videos on YouTube used to look like 5 years ago. Nowadays, so many YouTube videos are edited literally like animated movies. So if you really want to stand out, you have to do something unique. Year after year, it's going to take more and more work to get to the top and to make 6 figures a year or $1 million a year. So in a way, it's going to become almost impossible, which is why every day that you don't get started, that you don't start your own online business, you are missing out on a crazy opportunity that could change your life, especially with the rise of artificial intelligence. If you don't get started now, you might get stuck.
Being middle class, I feel like you're really just in between a rock and a hard place.
So what's going on is that you can get straight A's in school, you can graduate from a great college, you can get your internships, your research positions, whatever, you get the job, you're poor. I mean, the reality is you're not even going to get the job. I mean, just look around. You've got all these tech companies laying off thousands of employees, and they're not going to go into middle class. There's no middle class. They're drifting down into poor class, and their qualifications just weren't good enough. I mean, they studied hard, they got through college, they got their degree, they got good grades. It's not enough. they're going to become poor.
This is very true. Probably that growing up, you've heard your parents tell you so many times, also your teachers, that you needed to study hard in school, to work hard, and then to get a good degree and then a good job that pays 60K a year. And if you're lucky, maybe 6 figures a year. Yet many people, after studying hard, sometimes for even 5 years, imagine spending 5 years of your life studying, you're not being paid while you're studying. You're paying the school to be able to study. So what, you start life with minus $200,000 and you cannot even get a job. And that's exactly why I say that the middle class is just another way of saying poor. So yes, it is no longer enough to work hard, to get a good degree, and then get a good job. People think that entrepreneurship is risky, and it is. And like I said, it is not made for everyone. But this path, it is just as risky. And compared to if you started your own business, it doesn't allow for exponential payouts. And by that, what I mean is that in your business, you could reach the moon. People say that the sky is the limit, but there is really no limit. You could make $1 million a day, $10 million a day. Whereas with the traditional job, it's impossible. And to even just get to 6 figures a year, it would take you decades of slave-like hours every day. This means no time to be with your family, no time for your hobbies, no time for anything. A lot of people think that it's money that buys you freedom. And that's true, but to some degree only. If you make a lot of money, like maybe you're a professional, you're a CEO, an executive, and you drive the latest Mercedes to the office every day, you make 6 figures a year. People on the outside, they might look at you and think that, wow, your life is amazing, you're so lucky. But deep down, you work 80 hours a week and you hate your life because you never see your family and you never have any time for your hobbies. Whereas with an online business, if you do things right, you can obtain financial abundance. It's not going to be quick, it's not going to be easy, but it is possible. And the amazing thing with having an online business is that you'll be able to pick your own schedule, to hire and to delegate to other people, and to work from wherever you want in the world, as long as you have your laptop and a steady internet connection.
People say to work harder. Work on what?
It's true that hard work alone, it's not going to make you rich, to make you a millionaire, or to help you to obtain financial abundance. You need to work hard, sure, because it's not going to be easy. But at what? At the right thing. You need to pick an opportunity that allows you to make 6 figures or even 7 figures a year. I mean, one of the most basic examples I gave to help people to understand the concept of leverage is that, for instance, if you just make burgers at a fast food joint, you could work really hard. You could work 12 hours a day. For the sake of the example, let's say even 14 hours a day. But with that job, you will never make $1 million a year. You will never even get to 6 figures. Now, on the other hand, if you started your own business, it can be an online business or a traditional brick and mortar business. Although online businesses have a lot more advantages and lower startup costs. You could, technically speaking, make 6 figures a year, 7 figures a year. To be able to make that kind of money, to obtain financial freedom, you need to be using the right vehicle. And by vehicle, I mean what opportunity you are using to generate money. But honestly, if right now, your day-to-day life, it looks like this. You wake up, you grab your phone and you open up a social media app like Instagram, like Facebook, like YouTube, and you just watch content endlessly, you scroll endlessly, where do you think you will go in life? A lot of people, they've got like 8 hours of screen time on their phone per day, and on the weekend, it can even go up to 12 hours. There is a big shift happening in the world right now. If you don't make the decision right now to change, to do whatever the hell it takes to go from middle class to being wealthy, you might never be able to get there. Or at least, it's going to take so much work, it will take decades. And when I mean decades, you might be 20, and then you might actually end up making some good money at like 50. Is that the type of life that you want to live?
We're entering an era where making money, I think, is just going to get harder and harder. Now, that's not to mention, if the poor are getting poorer, well, who's getting richer out there? Well, unfortunately, we get to see these rich people on social media all the time, on Instagram, YouTube, living out their best lives, traveling on private jets, living in mansions, driving Lamborghinis, wearing Rolex watches, maybe just talking on YouTube. Or, some of these people, they're just eating free food at the Google cafeterias, showing that off in their day in the live videos. And that's kind of what people want nowadays, because people are able to see really the best lifestyles out there, and people are awakening up to that, and nobody really wants the wage slave 9-to-5 life anymore. And so the funny thing is, today, nobody celebrates working hard anymore. You don't see a YouTube clip of somebody working hard, studying, coding away.
So first the public class card. So ante you choose.
No, people are just out there showing their best lives, having fun.
I mean, I don't think that the reason why people don't want to watch people working hard on YouTube, I don't think that it's necessarily because people don't want to work hard or anything, but it's because if you work hard all day, I mean, do you just want to sit down and watch some boring video about somebody working hard? No, because quite frankly, you just don't care. And lots of people, they say, oh, it shouldn't be about the destination, but it should be about the journey. Focus on the journey, the destination doesn't matter. I completely disagree. To me, it's just a whole bunch of BS. You wouldn't wouldn't even get started on that journey if the destination wasn't appealing in the first place. And obviously people love to watch like MrBeast videos or videos a day in my life of influencers. Why? Because oftentimes real life is boring for most people. There isn't something extraordinary. I mean, just take a look at any movie. Every 5 seconds there's something crazy happening. Look at any fighting scene in movies. In the real world, people do not fight like that. People want to be entertained because quite frankly, when they get up early, they go to work at 9, they leave at 5 p.m, and then they have to take care of kids, to like maybe do some groceries, to take care of their other responsibilities. They don't want to sit down and to watch a video of somebody coding. They just don't care. They want to be entertained. And this is exactly why Netflix, it works so damn well. And of course, I don't think that anybody just wants to work hard just for working hard. If you work hard at something, it's because you want to get better at it. If it's like a sport, you want to maybe become a professional, or you really want to work hard because you want to be fit and healthy. If it's a business, you're not working hard just for the sake of working hard. Sure, at some point you might fall in love with the process, but you begin, why? Because you want to make more money, because you want to obtain a higher quality of life for yourself. And a lot of people, they're going to try to shame you, to make you feel bad, or to make you feel guilty for wanting a better life for yourself and for your loved ones. Like if you want to live a life of luxury and of abundance, drive supercars, or literally take a private jet, a lot of people, they're going to shit on you because they're trying to discourage you from trying to obtain these things because they won't do what's necessary to obtain these things. People don't want to see you do better than them. You know, there's a famous saying, people want to see you do good, but never better than them. And let me tell you, it is very true. Most people, they don't want you to succeed.
No, people are just out there showing their best lives, having fun. And that's what people want to see, and that's cool. And so in my opinion, the era of social media self-help gurus is shifting away basically. It's losing some popularity because nobody wants to hear about 7 ways to make money, 7 ways to improve your productivity, 7 ways to optimize your mindset. You know, people kind of get that by now. It's like there's no secret key to success. You just got to work hard. And people are more interested in really seeing others spending money, right? It's like the most popular channel, MrBeast, is a guy who just spends loads of money.
It's true that there is, technically speaking, no secret to success. You need to find the right opportunity like we've talked about, and you need to work hard at it. Now, what does it mean? It's actually going to depend on the type of work that you have to do. If you decided to start an affiliate marketing business, you won't have to do the same type of work as if you decided to start your own consulting business. So work hard on what? Well, it depends on what you're doing. However, while there is no secret that is kept from you and that is preventing you from reaching your goals and obtaining financial abundance, if you don't know what you're doing, you won't get the results that you want. And that's the reason why people even watch YouTube educational content in the first place, or that's the reason why people buy books like 7 Habits of Successful People, the 5 AM Club, or all those books, is because you want to learn a specific knowledge that you can then apply to improve the quality of your life and to reach your goals. If you don't know what you're doing, you'll never get what you want. However, it's completely true that people, they just don't care about seeing you work hard. They want to see the lifestyle. They want to be entertained, like we've talked about, because real life is oftentimes boring. And to be completely honest, I don't like Instagram. If it were just for me, I wouldn't even have an Instagram account. The only reason I post some fancy pictures on Instagram is because I know this is what people want to see.
And people are more interested in really seeing others spending money, right? It's like the most popular channel, MrBeast, is a guy who just spends loads of money. That's what people want to see. People don't want to see you making money. That's not interesting. That's not popular. It's not cool to make money. You want to be unpopular? And so it's not going to get you any dates if you're just sitting around slaving away at your wage slave 9-to-5 job, trying to make a few bucks, trying to make money. People aren't impressed by that at all. People want to see the Lambos, the mansions, travel lifestyle, or maybe they want to go watch music, gaming, art, or maybe just argue over politics and try to tear each other down. That's what people are interested in, not in trying to make money anymore. So in addition to you simply not having opportunities anymore, because we're just pulling up the ladder, there's no middle class anymore. You're either poor or you're rich, nothing in between. You've also got the most successful people blasting out how amazing their lives are on social media 24/7 as if it's normal and everybody's aspiring for that. And nobody wants to see you working, struggling. Like, are you poor? Like, nobody wants to associate with the poor class. People want to aspire to that rich class. That's who you're going to be compared with. It's like, why can't you be like MrBeast?
Honestly, that's nothing new. People have always wanted to hang out with the rich, with the wealthy, with the successful. And in that same spirit, people often want to be with other attractive people. We want the best of the best. I mean, I think it's programmed into us in our DNA for survival reasons. There's something called the halo effect. It means that whenever people see somebody who's attractive, automatically they will attribute more positive qualities to that person. Like they would rate that person as smarter, more trustworthy, all of that because they are just attractive. When in reality, they're not necessarily smart or even trustworthy, just because they're good looking.
I mean, look, you're living in an entire, your whole life is a lie, right? So maybe you should just accept that. And you're either going to make it or you're not going to make it. And there's no in between, there's no try. It's like what Yoda says, do or do not, but there's no middle ground here.
I don't necessarily like this type of advice because it sounds like this guy is just encouraging people to just throw their hands in the air and just give up. All of your dreams are worthless, throw them in the trash, just be a good slave, work 80 hours a week and be poor. Yes, it is true that the competition is growing more ruthless day after day, which is why you need to get started right now. If you were to ask me what's your biggest regret, I would say only one thing, not starting sooner. Why? Because 5 years ago, it was a lot easier to grow on YouTube, to start a successful online business than it is today. But you know what? If you don't start today, in 5 years from now, it's going to be 10 times more difficult than it is right now. So quit waiting and just do what you need to do to succeed. With that said, if you want to start your own online business, but you've got no clue where to start, I have recorded a free video in which I analyze every popular online business model to figure out which one is the best to start for beginners. We take a look at the pros and at the cons of each. And I'm also going to share with you the simple 3-step process that you can use to start getting your first clients today. The link is in the description below. And with that said, as always, I am waiting for you on the other side.